guys, I'm Amy, and you've landed on Belle Loves Bargains. That's my cow Effingham, and sometimes he co-hosts with me. He's got a lot to say. This channel is Dollar Tree, and only Dollar Tree. And why? Because everything at the Dollar Tree is $1.25, people. So stick around, consider subscribing, and don't forget to give me that big thumbs up. And if you want to know more about the 4 uploads I do every week, just check out the description box for more information. Enjoy! Don't need ribbons and bows to cure my woes. No, I just need your love. Expensive rings or diamond things. No, I just need your love. Don't get me wrong, a shiny new Mercedes would look nice in my driveway. Or a round trip ticket for a long vacation on a big fancy jet plane. There's only one thing that I want, baby, it's hard to find, and it's already mine. Don't need ribbons and bows to cure my woes. No, I just need your love. Okay, that's good enough, right? Guess what today is? It's Ribbon and Bow Day. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Belle's Bargains. My name is Amy. All right, that's a Casey Musgrave song. It's actually, it's actually a Christmas song, but it was so perfect. Don't need ribbons and bows to cure my woes. No, I just need your love. So guess what we're doing? It's Ribbon Tutorial Day. This is a long, oh my gosh, Jax just jumped up in my lap. He likes to come on camera now. This is a long video, you guys. It's like an hour long. But there are 20, I think, oh my gosh, you got to get down now, doggy. There are 22 bows. 22. And most of them are in that wreath right there. Oh my gosh. Let me just grab it really quickly to show you guys. This is full of the bows that I made on my tutorial. That's a star bow, bouquet bow. Oh my gosh, why am I even telling you? Okay, but before we get started, this bow right here, I think I just looped it on there. This is what started the whole thing. But I'm gonna tell you right now, you have to watch till the very end to see this bow. This is what I call the mother bow. You'll learn why at the very end. It is the very last thing you're gonna see on this video. Here's why. This started my whole bow journey, and then I'm writing them all down. Guess what I didn't write down? I didn't write down the #1 bow in my life. Like, this was the very first bow that I learned to make. Super cool bow, very full, very movable, pliable. You can do all kinds of stuff for it. It's what I would probably refer to as, you know, an arrangement bow, like you would put it in a floral arrangement, but I call it the mother bow. You can watch and see why. All right, are you ready? This is my bow tutorial. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you learn something from it. And I don't know, just let me, there's not gonna be a favorite, I'm pretty sure. And there are super easy ones and super difficult ones. So I hope you learned something from it. All right, guys, enjoy the bow tutorial. That's hard to say. Don't need ribbons and bows to cure my woes. Watch this. I'm gonna come back and say goodbye when we're all done. Finger bow. So take the end of your ribbon. This is the length of your tail. And you're gonna hold that sort of right here. And you're gonna crazy 8 around your 2 fingers. Index finger, middle finger. So you go over, round, over, round. And I usually do that about 3 times. Then I'm gonna cut the ribbon. And including the tail here, you're gonna go through, back up, and then through the loop and pull really, really tight. Take it off your fingers, hence finger bow. And now you've got a cute little finger bow with 3, do it however many loops you want, but 3 little loop-de-loos. Finger bow. Now, I'm just gonna give this what we call an angled cut. There's different ways you can do the tails on your bows. And on a finger tail, having it the same length, like on this particular bow, is cute. I normally would do 2 different lengths. So I would maybe do like this. But on this bow, It just looks cute, symmetrical. So I'm just gonna lay it over and voila, there we go. Ah, I'm such a goofball though. It should be over like this. Now I'll do this, watch. Because it gives them the opposing angles. There we go. A cute little finger bow. Let's do a loop and twist bow. All right, so a loop and twist bow is gives you really good full loops, and it keeps your pattern to the front. So this is how I start. Choose the length of your tail, whatever that length is, and then we're gonna pinch. All right, so now my tail is gonna be this length. Now I'm gonna take my ribbon, I'm gonna do a loop. So I'm gonna do three loops, and they're gonna get consecutively larger. So I'm gonna loop and then twist. And then I'm gonna do the same size loop, twist again. So see? And now I'm gonna get a little bit larger on my loop and twist. I'm pinching and just twisting right there in the middle. And look at, see how it keeps these, like it makes them sort of stand up. And then I'm gonna loop again, that same size as over there, sort of. Yep, there we go. So a little bit larger than the first one. And then the final one is even a little bit larger. Loop, twist, loop, twist. And you have to twist at the end, again, so that your pattern is to the front. If I didn't twist, then it would be the back side. So that twisting causes that pattern to the front. So I'm just gonna cut off. We've cut off our tail now. And here's where, now I'm gonna take my cotton twine and I'm going to tie this together. So I'm just gonna put it around the back of it. I'm actually gonna bring my knot to the front on this one because I'm gonna use this twine as part of my decoration on the bow. Also, if I wanted to add anything to the center of this bow, now I've got something I could tie it on with. I'm not gonna do that in this particular instance because we're just showing you how to make bows. Okay, so I've double knotted. This is holding our bow in place. Look at how everything is to the front. Look at these nice full, they're nice and full, these loops in here, right? So, and you can just play with it and adjust it however you want to, you know, look however you want. I just love that they're nice and full. Now, I'm gonna dovetail these. So when you dovetail, fold in half, and you just cut from the middle towards the ends, right? Fold in half, cut from the middle towards the end. I'm not making my tails the same length. And one of the things I love about this ribbon is that it's wired on the sides, which means I can form my tails. Look at that, give them a nice sort of curled effect. Now, I still have my twine here, and I'm just going to add this as part of my bow. It's just gonna be more dimension on it. I don't know what you wanna call it. So I'm just gonna take it and I'm putting some knots in the string just to add a little, you know, it just adds a little bit of dimension. So when it's hanging somewhere, you would see those knots hanging down as well. Okay, there. That is what we call the loop and twist bow. Awareness bow. So I'm going to assume that I want my tails about this length and I want my loops about this length. So that tells me that I need at least this much on one side and then the exact same amount on the other side. So I'm gonna cut, boom. I'm gonna get my black cotton twine to use as my tie on this. And I've got the ribbon standing sort of on its edge right here. And I'm gonna take the two ends and push them in towards the middle. And then crisscross them. And then we're gonna pull the center down into this. And now we've got our bow. So let's do that again, just so you guys understand. Ribbon up on its end, flop down, crisscross, pull this down and towards the back in the center. And now you're gonna take your twine, and in this case, I'm gonna knot it to the back because that's how I'm gonna attach it to something, right? I can tie it onto something, or I can loop it onto something, or I can just cut it off. So one of the things about this awareness bow is I have the ability now to pull these loops in a little bit and make them a little bit smaller. And I'm gonna go ahead and knot. Double knot it. Whoopsie. And there you go. So again, I'm gonna pull this down quite a ways just to make those a little bit smaller if I can. All right, so that's the awareness bow. And these are just I'm gonna give it a straight edge, but this is called a fray end. See that? Straight edge, but a frayed end. And you're just doing little cuts into the ribbon. Gives it a little, it almost looks like a little miniature scarf, doesn't it? And you can pull some of that stuff out and it'll fray it even more and give you a really sort of cool, tattered, frayed look on the end of it. Depending upon the ribbon that you use too, some of them are gonna fray better than others. But yeah, it's just, some of those pieces are coming out and you end up with a little frayed end is what I call it. All right, and that is your awareness bow right there. Shoelace bow. Now, when we were kids, we all learned to tie our shoe and we would get the opposing ends up, tie it in a knot, and then tie our bow. So basically, you're gonna do the same thing. It's just a way to, you know, come to it. There's no need for the knot other than it gives you a compass spot, I suppose is a great way to put it. So you put a knot in the middle of your ribbon. This is the top of your shoelace. And then you grab your loop and you put your index finger right on that knot, wrap around and pull it through. And then you just do some adjusting a little bit there. And that is a shoelace. But here's your problem. See that? You end up with your pattern to the front. So all you do is do a little twist and tighten it. Did you see that? So let's do it again. Here's your knot. You're gonna make your loop. You're gonna come around there and pull through, just like when you tied your shoes. Do some adjusting, and you see your pattern is to the back. So we twist it and then pull that nice end taut. Did you guys see that? And there's your shoelace. Your shoelace one. All right. And this one, the knot gives you also a really good base for hot gluing it onto something or anything like that. Okay, so this one, because it has the little arrows on it, it's kind of cool, right? We're gonna give it a reverse dovetail. So that fold over and you cut up. See that? Fold it over and I can make sure that I'm doing it the same length, basically. Fold it over and you cut up, and that gives you a reverse dovetail or an arrow end on an arrow ribbon. What? Yeah. There's your shoelace bow. I'm gonna use some lace to make a bunny ears bow. So this is just lace, obviously, from the Dollar Tree. Take it out of its package. Okay, so lace is a great thing to make bows with. It's just very pretty, especially like in shabby chic or just different farmhouse even. All right, so I'm gonna choose about my length of my tail, pull that out, and then I'm gonna make a loop. 1 loop. Then I'm gonna go over here and make another loop, approximately the same size. Guess what we're gonna do? We're going to just knot those 2. Bam, pull it tight and then adjust. Pull it tight and adjust. Okay, now lace is interesting. It won't stand up as much. Oftentimes I will use lace as a layering bow effect. So I might take this and put it on top of another bow just to give it some depth and more color, right? In this instance, we're just showing you how to make the bows. This is bunny ears bow, right? Let's do it one more time. Length of your tail, loop, go to the other side, make another loop approximately the same size, crisscross over and pull 1 loop through. Pull tight, and there is your bunny ears bow. All right, so you can always adjust your tail lengths. Now, because this is the lace, this is one that I like to do with the material like this. It's more pliable, is instead of cutting any sort of end, I just knot the end of my tails. And it gives it a nice full little dangling look on the end of my bow, my little bunny ears bow. And there's, this one's too long. It's the one thing about bows, you're always adjusting, right? Pulling those tails to get your 2 loops the same. Okay, and that's with a knotted end on your tails. So a little something to consider. Doesn't always have to be some fancy cut. There are other things you can do with your tails. So there you go, a bunny ears bow. All right, this is a crisscross bow. So I have chosen 5 different ribbons that I like the way they all go together. And I'm going to decide how big I want my bow to be. And then I'm gonna cut 3 of each one, giving me 15 pieces of ribbon. So I'm gonna go about this length here. And I'm gonna cut 3 of each ribbon in this length. All right, 3 equal length strips of 5 different patterns. So crisscross, we're gonna take our piece of cotton twine here. I'm gonna lay that down and we're gonna crisscross across it. So we go 1, criss. You wanna sort of hit the middle, cross, criss, cross, criss, cross, criss. Oops. Yeah, that's right. Confusing myself here. Cross, criss, cross. And then we're gonna do it one last time, right? So criss, cross. All right. So now I'm gonna take my twine here and I'm just going to give it a good knot, and that's gonna pull these all together. I'm trying to keep them all sort of flat while I do this so that all the patterns are up. And then we're gonna knot it again. So, sure we are. No, we are, trust me. Well, I'm holding my finger on that knot, and there you go. There's your crisscross bow. And you can play with this, like, so obviously I got stuff coming off the end of this one. Let's cut that off. You know, if you have any fraying, you can cut it off. Or you can go with it, you can just let it fray. All right, and then I'll sort of work my bow, my knot to the back of that so I can tie it on something. Or I can glue it onto something. And then I just like to do this in case there's any that are really sticking out overly long, just because, you know, when you put it together, there you go. That is a Criss Cross Bow. And I love it because you get so many patterns and colors that you can do with this. And you can just do multiple colors, rainbow colors. You can do anything you want, right? Okay, there's the Criss Cross Bow. Star bow. Okay, so these are just a little bit more difficult, but not really. I'm not gonna measure this out because this is just depends on how big you want your bow to be. So I'm not gonna give you exact measurements because you're gonna just depending upon how big you want your star bow to be. So we're gonna cut 4 exactly the same length. 3, whoopsie, 4. And then we're gonna cut 2 about 25% smaller, I'm gonna say. Approximately 25% smaller. And we're only gonna cut 2 of those. And this is we're gonna need 1 more for the loop, sorry. And that's about half the size of the last one. So we've cut 4 pieces the exact same size, 2 pieces 25% smaller, and 1 piece 50% smaller. So this is, you're gonna turn your ribbon facing pattern-wise up, and you twist the ends around like this. Do you see that? There's what it looks from the top. So let's do that again. You're gonna take your top, come around and back to the front, your bottom around, back to the front. We're meeting in the middle. Now, with a stapler, you could staple this and you can glue it. So either one. I forgot my stapler, going to get the stapler. So you're just gonna go in and staple the center, holding this all together like that. And there's 1. Then we're gonna do that to all of these. So again, pattern side up, you twist over to the middle and twist over to the middle, and you're meeting in the middle. Isn't there a song, Meeting in the Middle? Something like that. And we're just gonna staple that. Bam, there we go. And then again, pattern side up. Take your top, twist it around and over, bottom, around and up. And we're meeting in the middle. By the way, another thing you can do is just find your middle like this, and then that's where you meet. I never do that. I just visually kind of know where my middle is, but, well, I know where my middle is. So, okay, and then again, we're just stapling them. So here's your middle, and we come up and around, and we're just twisting over onto ourselves to get that. It's basically the points of the star is what this is, you guys. Whoa, no. Gotta double staple this one. I missed it, okay? And now we're gonna do the same thing with the smaller ones. So here's your little middle, right? There's your middle right there. Twisting over, twisting up and over. And again, we're just gonna staple that. Staple, staple, staple. Okay, and again, middle, pattern up, twist to meet, twist up to meet. You might have to try it a few times to really get that down, but once you do, it's pretty simple. Oh dear, it's okay, we'll undo that. Okay, so now I have all of my points, so to speak, and I've got 4 larger ones and 2 smaller ones and my loop-de-loo. So now I'm actually going to use a glue gun, and I'm going to dab a bit of glue right there in the center, and I'm going to put this one inside of that one. Just going to hold it there for a second. Boom. We're going to do that again here. A little bit of glue. Oops, I brought a glue stick with me. Don't need to do that. My glue gun is so messy. And then we're just gonna glue that down right there in the middle. And again here, a little bit of glue, and we're gonna glue that down. Now, I've used a fairly large ribbon to do this because I thought maybe you could see it better if we were using a larger ribbon. But of course you can do it with a smaller ribbon too. And now we're gonna take this and glue it inside of that one. So glue, bunch of glue in the center of this one. And we're just gonna give it a half turn so the points are pointing opposite of where, or you know what I mean, not opposite, but in between the other points, okay? Hold that down there. Now I'm gonna put another dab of glue in here, because now what am I gonna do? I'm gonna put this one in, and again, we're not lining up, we're going the like catty corner to the way that those were going. Catty corner isn't right either. In between, I guess, right? All right, so I'm gonna hold this there, glue this all down. You can see it looks like a star, doesn't it? And now I'm gonna take that final piece, which we have, and I'm just gonna glue it upon itself. So I'm making a loop. I was trying to hold that down while I did that. Okay, so we're gonna make our little loop. Hold that together. Guess where this is going? Can you guys guess? I'm gonna put a little glue here, and it's gonna go right inside of our star. And there you have a star bow. Bum ba da dum. Except my bottom one is not gluing. I knew something was coming apart. That's okay. We're gonna hold it a little bit longer this time, yeah? Okay, so we're going down and poof. Hold that down right there. Let it dry. And there is the star bow. All right. So you can do it again. I did it with a bigger ribbon to show you guys, but this is very much like what you'll see pre-made packages of these in the foil ribbon and whatnot. Anyway, star bow. Bow tie bow. So I've cut a piece of ribbon, and this is just pretty much whatever size you want. You can always trim off after you've done your bow tie bow. I think I'm about the right length here. Giving myself dovetail ends for a very specific reason, because I want that to actually show when I'm done making my bow tie. All right, so when you do a bow tie bow, where your middle is, you know, wherever your middle is, you actually are gonna come over from that about 25%. And this is where you're gonna bring your first side over. This is half of your bow tie, okay? Now you're gonna pick this up and you're gonna bring the other side around over the top, all right? So I'm kind of creating a loop around it, and then this is gonna go through that back side, and you're gonna create a loop. So now you've got a loop behind your dovetail here and a dovetail behind this loop here. And now you're going to pull. And as you pull this, it will get tighter and tighter. And you don't ever want your tail on this side to come all the way out, or your tail on this side to come all the way out, because that's actually the end of your bow tie. All right. So you're just gonna keep pulling and adjusting. And like I said, you can cut if you need to. So at this point, my tail back here isn't as long as this loop. And this loop seems a little bit shorter. So I'm gonna pull it out a little bit. And I'm probably gonna cut down my dovetail here. I've cut my ribbon a little long. That's okay. So now I have, this is what a bow tie is. Tail in front, tail in back, and a loop, and a loop. And when you undo them, you just pull one side, all right? That's a bow tie bow. Now, most people don't realize that the tail on a bow tie is actually on the top, but look up an actual bow tie. That is a fact. So you have a tail in the front, tail in the back, and this nice loopy bow. This is too long, sorry. Let's do this one more time. This happens when you craft. You guys know that, right? It's like you end up going, wait a second. It's not what I was seeing. I just don't want the one side longer than the other side. Okay, see, there you go. There's a nice bow tie bow. So bow tie bows are perfect for like the top of a package. on the top of a bottle, anything like that. They're just a nice, simple, elegant looking bow. So there's your bow tie bow. Okay, a loop bow. Get your piece of material. And this is, you're not doing tails. You're going to add tails afterwards. So this is just your center of your bow right here. And I'm going to use some white cotton twine to tie this one. So you loop, 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 loop. All your loops are the same size. We're not changing the size of our loops. We're trying to keep them pretty even, but they're overlapping each other, right? And then loop and loop. Now I've got this long piece here, which is fine. So I'm going to take my jute twine and I'm going to go right down the center of all these loops. And I'm going to tie it in a knot, much like I've done with lots of other bows. And now I've got one tail here and 3 loops. You see the difference? Like this looks completely different than a twist and loop, which is, I'll show you here in a second. Okay, so I'm just now gonna take this and I'm gonna cut this off here. I'm gonna take this piece and tie it back here because I need another tail, right? I suppose in the beginning of this, it's funny, I've always done it this way, but I guess if you could start with a tail hanging down. Your problem is how it will hang. So by manipulating it this way, you get it to hang straight down. See what I'm saying? Okay, so this is just a I want you guys to take note. This is just a loop bow. It's a lot different looking than a twist and loop and twist one, which I'll show you in a second. Right here. This is a twist, loop, and twist, and this is a loop. Do you see the difference? They just look completely different. All right, so now for me on the ends of this one, I would probably actually just give it I kind of like just a straight edge on this one. Ironically, yeah, because it has so much going on the ribbon. I think the straight end is really perfect for it, which is always an option. This bow would be super cute to throw a button in the middle of it or something too. Anyway, that's just a straight loop bow. A bouquet bow is it's a very full bow, and if you put it on a bridal bouquet, you'll usually see lots of tails hanging down. So it's a layering effect, and you're gonna start with, I usually would start with a loop and twist bow, and of course I'm going pretty long on my tail. So my loop and twist is gonna start out maybe a little bit larger than I would normally because I want a pretty full bow here. And I'm also going, whoops, I just ran out. Well, that's okay. Let's use it. Let's go with it. I probably would have gone 3 on there. That's okay. We're still gonna get what I'm gonna show you here. So now I'm actually gonna take a satin ribbon here because we're gonna use what we're tying our ribbons together with as part of our bow. So I'm gonna bring this here. I'm gonna tie a knot in it. And then I'm gonna leave that because I'm gonna tie more on with this. So now I'm gonna get another ribbon. So we'll just use this right now. Happens to be here. And I'm gonna do another, just sort of a loop and twist on this one as well, but a little bit smaller, right? It's gonna go inside of the one that we're doing right now. And I'm pinching that together and I'm gonna tie it into the center of it. So do you see, I'm layering my bows here, right? Now I've got 2 bows and got multiple tails going on. I've got 6 tails right now, which is perfect. That's kind of what we want. So if I were actually gonna do this on a an actual bridal bouquet. It might have been obviously different color choices and maybe a little bit larger, but that's okay. This also works great if you're going to put it on a door hanger or something with all the tails hanging down. So let's just do it this size because this is what we have. So immediately I'm going to dovetail the ends of my original bow. It's the thicker bow. And then I'm gonna take my longer black bows here. And if you were gonna do it for a bridal thing, this is fun to add maybe some jewels or something on, but I'm not going to. I'm gonna knot these and have them hang down. This, I call it a bridal or a bouquet bow, but it's not just for a bouquet. Like this is, like I said, this is great for like doing a door hanger, not a full wreath maybe. You could do a great big bow like this for, you know, a specific holiday, or put it on a welcome sign. There's lots of things. But the big key to this one is the layering and the multiple tails, which really takes it to that, what reminds you of a bouquet. All right, so I've just added my knots. And now I'm just gonna go through and angle cut all of these satin tail ones here for a finished look on them. And then that's it. So this is your effect with a bouquet bow. Big long tails, multiple tails. You're layering your bow up here. And it's just a really pretty look. There you go. Bouquet bow. Gift box bow. So we're gonna take a ribbon here and I'm gonna show you how, this is a box, and how you wrap a ribbon around a gift box. Put a bow on it. So you want extra hanging off because you can either do a shoestring bow on top or it's gonna be your tails. So in this instance, I'm gonna leave enough so that I can actually do a shoestring bow on top and show you that way. So I'm always gonna hold the ribbon down, go all the way around, and we meet back in the middle. And this is where you're gonna hold that and you're gonna just twist these two. Ba-bam. So they're going opposite ways. Did you see that? So we've wrapped around, we meet in the middle, and then we just twist them going opposite ways, okay? Now we're gonna still hold this one here, and we're gonna pull this one around, and oh my gosh, look at that. You have now got your ribbon all the way around all four sides. So I'm gonna cut this off, and now I need to tie this off. So I'm gonna go under one of these here, right there, because now I have my ends opposing each other, and I'm gonna knot. Bam, look at that. You now have your ribbon all around the box and it's knotted on top. And now you can just do a regular bow here like this and cut your ends off and it'd be super cute, or you can knot your little ends or whatever you want to do. Or if you want, you can actually make yourself a star bow and put it on top of your box. Or you can give yourself a loop and twist bow. Or in this instance, a cute little finger bow right on top of that is adorable, right? So you can absolutely just put, I'm trying to knot this one. You can just put a shoelace bow on it from your tails when you went around it, right? And then here's your little end result. So let me do it one more time for you so you can see this. Ready? Untie. Also, it makes it very easy for them to get into the gift. Well, except for this knot here. But, all right. So we're going to do it one more time just to show you guys again. Okay, so I'm going to start middle, center of the box. We're going to go all the way around, meet back in the middle, and what do? We twist, boom. So we're going in opposite directions. We leave this one here, bring the long end all the way around. Now I'm around my box, and we're just going to go under that one loop right there, and we're gonna knot. And then we're just gonna give ourselves a little shoestring bow. Twist your ends so that the pattern is going to the front. Pull back on those a little bit, tighten it up. Voila, cutest little gift box ribbon ever, right? There you go. That is your gift box bow. This is a flower bow, and you will need a piece of wire for putting your flower bow together. So flower bows have to be made with a wired ribbon. And the reason is we're used to using a bow like this, but for a flower bow, you actually use the the ribbon on its side, and you create your little round petals. And this is basically it's a crazy 8. So you do this, and then you flip around and you do an 8, and voila. So this is where you start using the ribbon, the wire, because it just makes it so much easier. So you put your wire in and you twist. And now you're opened up for putting on your next petals. So remember, it's a crazy 8. So you do on petals, the ribbon on its side, and you do your crazy 8. And then you're going to twist that on with the wire. It just helps keep it all together. I've done it so many times I can actually do it without the wire. But as I'm teaching you guys, like, this just makes it so easy. Okay, and then we're gonna do it again. And we're trying to keep our petals, upright. So we're gonna twist, sorry, I'm running out of my ribbon here. We're gonna crazy 8. So you twist in, and you're trying to go, like opposing flower or petal areas, right? Get it into that. And there we go there. And we're gonna twist that on again. And at this point, I might have enough petals on here. Just depends on how big you want your flower to be. But as you can see, you're getting like this flower shape from your petals here. Okay, so I'm gonna do one more petal, but then that's it. So you can do it like it's the center of your flower, or you can do it like it's another petal. So I'm gonna do it like it's another petal on my flower, and I'm gonna crunch this in, and I'm gonna wire that on. Yeah, easier said than done, right? Okay. And now I'm gonna stick my wires to the back right now, just to get them out of the way. I would probably use them for attaching my flower or something, but for right now, I'm just gonna twist it, and I'm gonna go back to forming my flower. So here's my little petals. They're round. They're just sort of there, and you're gonna turn them on their side and form your little flower. See how that's working? And because you have the wired ends, you can really manipulate this quite well. And we have sort of our flower shape, right? So now what I'm gonna do, like I said, you could just put a thing in the middle, just like that, but I'm not going to. I am going to use a great big button for the center of my flower. I'm just gonna glue it on. Putting glue on it, sorry guys. And I'm gonna put that in the center. And now I have my really pretty flower bow. There you go. It's so cute. Be super cute on wreaths, right? Just to make a bunch of these. Flower bow. This is a stacked bow. So you take your ribbon and you start here and you just stack your ribbon. First of all, I should get my, I think I'll use black. I should get my cotton twine out because I'm gonna need that when we're at the end of this. Anyway, you just stack it, and you just stack it smaller and smaller. So we loop and we come across and we loop in a little bit so we don't go all the way to the end. And then we come across and we loop in a little bit. Then we come back across and we get, see, we're just stacking it, but we're getting smaller and smaller as we stack. And then keep stacking and stacking. And when you get it to about where you want it, and you can make these right as wide or as small as you want, just all depends on what it is that you're looking to do. Then I usually cut, and that goes, I loop that last one over and I tie it in there. So now I'm gonna take my jute twine and I'm gonna feed it, not jute twine, my cotton twine, doesn't matter, it's all the same stuff. I'm gonna feed it through there, making sure that I have it over the end of that last loop, right? Flip this over and we're gonna tie this in a knot and we're gonna have a really cool stacked bow. And because this happens to be wired ribbon, it's gonna shape really well too. So there's my center, right? And I'm just gonna pull these up and fluff them. And you have a nice stacked, this one's a little short. It happens. Pull on it a little bit. Look at that though. What? Yeah, that's pretty cool bow. Great bow for on top of a sign, right? Because you can make it so elongated, but still full. So that is a stacked bow. Cowboy bow. You need to use a satin ribbon because it just doesn't work as well with a bigger ribbon. It's kind of like a Colonel Sanders tie is kind of what it's like, just to give you guys. So you're gonna go around your fingers once, twice, and then we're gonna come back over here and we're gonna cut this last tail down here, okay? Now you're gonna take another piece of this, and we're going to tie it off. Kind of like a finger bow, but the idea is we're really trying to get a finished knot on there that's a square knot over the ribbon. That's not making sense, but you'll see what I'm saying, I think. So I just want to tie this. Pretty tight. And I'm going to tie it a second time. And that's what I'm talking about. Like, I want a square knot over the top of the ribbon. So it's not a, yeah. I don't know how to explain it other than that. So I'm not really looking to pull these two apart as much as just have them be thicker and fuller. All right. But now you've got your four tails, which is fine. That's actually what you want for your sort of Colonel Sanders looking bow. And we're going to cut these all different lengths. And there you have your cowboy bow. Kind of like a bolero bow, I guess. Is that the right word? Anyway, there you go. Cowboy bow. So wrap twice around your fingers, but then take another piece to knot it separately out. And that's going to give you four tails and a fuller of your two little loops for your cowboy bow. It's like there's two loops there, but you're not really pulling them apart. You can't really see them. All right? Cowboy bow. Accordion bow. So you're going to take, wired ribbon works really great for this. You don't have to have wired ribbon, and you're going to want a piece of jute twine at the end, or cotton twine, to tie this off. So you're going to start with your bow. Your loops are going to be bigger than your actual bow ends up because you have to have the part down here to tie. So you start, I just sort of hold it and I just start accordioning, just an accordion, right? I just like, bam, they're going to be the same size up and down. Okay, you're making your accordion loops like the same. And you just keep going, keeping them. I mean, it doesn't have to be exact because in the end, you're gonna fluff these out anyway. And I love this pattern actually for this bow. Oh, we're a little short. We're gonna cut that off. We don't wanna do that. All right, so now, I mean, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, I hate even numbers. That's okay, we're doing it anyway. So I'm gonna take my piece of twine. And so all you're gonna do is go about 3/4 of the way down on your accordion, and you're going to knot really, really tight, because you don't want this to come undone. And so you're gonna double knot it. You can cut this off, leave it on, doesn't matter, all right? But now this is just your bottom half. Now you're gonna take your accordion loops and you're gonna ba-bam them, ba-bam, ba-bam. There you go. And you have a nice little accordion bow. And you usually, I'll push this to one side, just exactly like this, and then glue it down on something. They're super cool on top of packages. So let's cut this off. No, I need that for later on. I have something I'm doing with all of my ribbons after I'm done. Okay, so there you go. That is the accordion bow. Grand prize bow. If you win the blue ribbon at the fair, they're going to give you a grand prize bow. So let's talk about how a grand prize bow starts. A grand prize bow starts with your tails. So you're going to figure out how long you want your tails, and your tails are going to be opposing. Look at that. See, you're already seeing it, aren't you? So there's your tails right there. And if you want, you can just pop a little hot glue right there or staple it to make it keep its shape, which is that just right next to each other, you know, tails. All right, now let's go to the upper part of it. I'm gonna cut this off straight. And all you do on this is you're gonna flatten out and keep wrapping around. So you're just making a circle basically out of this ribbon by just crisscrossing and going around and around. Hope this is making sense. See how I'm just sort of crisscrossing, folding it down. Wired ribbon absolutely works the best for this because you're trying to shape it into this you know, round ribbon thing. There you go. Do you see it? A little long. We don't need that. Okay, so now I'm going to cut this. And honestly, the best thing to hold this together, look at that. This is a good grand prize ribbon, is a stapler. Where's my stapler? Where's my stapler? Just going to go right into the middle and staple that. But now we have this, and we can just glue this to the back of it. But now we have this center part where, you know, where you're going to put your grand prize or whatever it happens to be. But if you're just making this because it's for some, you know, like you want a bow that looks like this, which is pretty cool, actually. This would be really cool on farmhouse decor, you know, for, you know, the prize-winning cow or something. Can't believe Effingham isn't talking. Okay, so there's a couple ways you could do this. You can just put a big loop in the center, just like that. Or you could get a really big button. I don't have any really big buttons, but I could certainly put numerous buttons around here, which is actually kind of cute. Yeah, actually, I kind of like, ooh, I like this button and that button. Maybe I'm just gonna put buttons all over the center of this, huh? Cute. Because you won the button prize, okay? Yeah, I think I will. I'll just stick a bunch of buttons in there. But you can, I mean, this is such a grand prize bow. It's not even funny. Hold on. I'm going to stick a whole bunch of glue in the center here and just start putting these buttons on there in no particular order because I like that. I think that makes it sort of more fun. I'll put some on top too. Let's see. Yeah, I think that's kind of fun. All right, and now we just need to put our grand prize ribbon down there. So notice too, like, see, there seems to be a little gap there. That's a perfect place to put the tails, which are such perfect grand prize tails. Look at that. Boom, boom. There's your grand prize ribbon. Somebody gonna use it on a farmhouse thing, I know it. Curly bows. Okay, so I'm gonna start with my piece of cotton twine for it. And this is a wired ribbon, which is super important. So all you're gonna do is get yourself something like a pen and wrap your ribbon around it. And you can wrap as much or as little as you want. And then cut it, take it off, and curl. Do it again. And we repeat this until you have as many curls as you want, okay? And I'll come back with them all curled. Okay, so once I have a bunch of them done, I'm just gonna tie this, boom, boom, and you have all your cute little curlies, and you have a bow. Bam, which this is like super easy to tie onto something too, a bottle or whatever. And actually either side is fine, but and you can manipulate these, curl them up, curl them smaller, curl them in, whatever you want. It's just a fun, you know, just a whimsical bow. So that's a curly bow. All right, a wreath bow is you want your tails to come out both sides of the bow so that you can put it on the wreath how you want. So the trick is to keep everything in one section but coming straight out. So you don't want your tails down low, you want your tails off to the side. So you pick where you're gonna have your sort of your center of your bow, and I do a loop and come back. And this becomes the area that I'm gonna tie, and I come back and I loop back. So do you see that? We're layering and the tails are coming off to the side. I'm just gonna cut this out here right now. And this is like everything's looping underneath itself so that you can keep it directional. I don't know if this is making sense. I hope so, you guys. Anyway, it just piles it's underneath itself so you can tie it all right here, and your tails come out from each end. Like they literally, your tails are underneath it, but coming out the side. So this gives you the ability, and you could do more than one loop, obviously. This gives you the ability to, I'm gonna tie it on here right now, and I have my tails are coming straight out so I can form them around the wreath. So I can poof up my loops here, and then I can manipulate my tail around the wreath, however long or short I want it to be, whatever. And that is how I do a wreath bow. And I'm gonna, on this particular wreath, I can sort of weave my tails in and out. You can do it however you want to do it. But this gives you that's perfect following of your tails. And that's just by looping it so that you're overlapping in the center and you can tie it all together. Wreath bow. Crazy knot bow. Okay, so we've done the Criss Cross bow, but this one is the crazy knot bow. So I'm gonna cut my strings a little bit longer for this one. And I'm gonna cut just 2 of each of these random patterns here. All right, so I have my strips cut, and this is what we're gonna tie it on. So let's just start putting them on. in any random order. And it just is, I am doing the crisscross, right? So I'm gonna make sure I crisscross all of my patterns across. I'm throwing a little lace in here. And we'll go back, do that again. Okay, so I'm gonna pull this all in and tie it tight. Trying to get it to just sort of meet right there in the middle. There we go. And now this is the crazy knot bow. So this is where it gets crazy. After I've done this, I go back through and each one of my tails here, or, you know, pieces of my ribbon, I put a knot in it. So I go back through and I knot them, all of them. Just start going through and knotting. You got to be careful not to pull too hard so you don't pull it from the other side, right? You want to make sure you don't, otherwise you won't have enough on the other side to knot. And I just knot them all. So this takes a little bit. I'll finish knotting and show you the end result. There you go, all knotted. How fun is this bow? I love this bow. It's so fun. And it frays, you know, as you're knotting it. I love that. I just think it's just a super fun, whimsical bow. The crazy knot bow. Okay, so you ever run out of ribbon when you're wrapping a paper? Because I'm going to teach you a trick. So this is paper, just like wrapping paper. And I just had some random pieces, so I grabbed them. And I'm just going to teach you all a little trick. When my kids were little and I would be wrapping for Christmas, this was just a really easy way if I ran out of ribbon, or just to make the present, the ribbon match if I didn't have a matching ribbon, or I don't know. Anyway, it's just a fun little trick to know. So you just, and 99.9% of wrapping paper, this works, just so you know. So you cut strips and then you take your scissors and you go like this, and look at that. It's like curling ribbon. So I just do this, come back when they're curled. It's also great, like if you just end up with just a little piece of wrapping paper and you don't have anything to wrap it with, right? So this is a great way to use up those last little bits of paper. So you curl them all and then you just start layering them just like this. Kind of like a crisscross bow. I just hold them in my hand. And pile them all up. This is it's just a cool idea, right? So now you can coordinate your bows with your wrapping paper just by using the wrapping paper to make your bow. And like I said, 99.9% of wrapping papers you can do this with. And you just use the back of your scissors to curl it like curling ribbon. And okay, I'm getting tired of doing this, but you get the idea. All right, we don't have to use those. Okay, and then you just take a piece of string or even tape, you know, tape it, but I use string, and I just go through the center, tie it off. I mean, this is brown paper, so remember, brown paper grocery sacks from the grocery store would work for doing this. You could make a cute brown paper gift and use some of that to make your little curling bow. There you go. A paper. And if they come uncurled, you just go back in and be like, hello, curl back, you little babies. There you go. That is a paper bow. Crazy 8 loops bow. So you start in the center and you crazy 8 loop. Did you see that? Crazy 8. And then you crazy, so you're gonna get bigger and you're gonna start small and then get bigger. So there's one crazy 8. Here's the next crazy 8. And then the third crazy 8. And boom, we're done. Okay, then I'm gonna cut this off. And my suggestion is to staple these just because it's just easier. I mean, you could glue if you didn't have a stapler, but the stapler is so easy. And then you just have your, it's like, you know, a cute little, I don't know, it's a crazy 8 bow. So I pull them out and sort of apart. And there you go. You can put pretty easily, actually probably should just put a little loop-de-loo in there. I'm gonna glue this. I usually put something in there, something else like, it could be a button, it could be a flower, it could be something else. I have a tendency to put, but anyway, you get the idea. Anyway, crazy 8 loops, super easy way to do a pretty full bow. And they work really well on wreaths as well. Leftover bows. So any good crafter will always have things that they just throw off to the side because, you know, they have leftovers or there's, you know, too much of this or too much of that, or it's just not enough to keep, but not enough to throw away, you know, that kind of stuff. So this is a leftover bow. I love leftover bows. I do leftover wreaths too. Just do it all the time. Anyway, there's no rhyme or reason, okay? This is just pile the stuff on top of here in no particular order. The size doesn't matter because they're all different sizes because they're just like leftover pieces, which is totally fine. If they're, you know, long, you just cut them. Or you don't, whatever you want to do. Anyway, this is a leftover bow. So, right down to the piece of twine that was left over. Actually, I'll put this twine on there. And all I'm going to do is go in the middle. People also call these rag bows. I'm sure you've seen a rag bow. And I'm going to knot it really tightly. Tight, tight, tight. And it kind of gives a bow tie effect, right? So we're not rounded. It's, you know, it's got on either side stuff's sticking out, but no round shape to it, which is what I want. And then I will just go through and randomly maybe knot or fray or whatever. And this is all leftovers. I will just keep like a pile of, I'll keep like a thing near my table and I'll like, you know, just throw stuff in there, leftover stuff. Why not, right? And then do something like this. And this would be so cute, like on a gift, on top of a wine bottle or anything like that. So don't ever throw away your leftovers. Just keep them. If you just have little bits, like I said, throw them in a jar next to your craft table or something like that. I also do that with jute twine. And I'm going to make me a great big jute twine project with my leftover jute twine one day. Anyway, so I'm incorporating different things, right? So we have the knotted ends. And see, look, I can just tie this onto something. So cute. And then also I'll fray some of the ends, depending upon the material that's in there, right? Not all material is going to be frayable. Is that a word? Frayable? But certainly some of the, if I had some burlaps in here, some good burlaps, it would be. But anyway, I don't really, that's okay. So there you go. It's just a leftover bow. There's no rhyme, no reason to it, but they're so fun. And they always come out just looking, I think they just look adorable. See, now I might dovetail the shorter ones in the front just because, right? I might angle cut some of them. Whoops, that didn't work, did it? By the way, I would always suggest that you have a really good pair of scissors when you're doing crafts with ribbons, because it just helps to get good cuts, even cuts and whatnot. All right, that is my leftover bow. How cute, right? And you used up all your leftover pieces. Long video. I'm sure you watched it in increments, right? But just hang on, because as soon as I'm done speaking, I'm going to put the tutorial up for the mother bow. I hope you guys really enjoyed that. Next week, I'm hoping to come out with a jars tutorial on how to decorate jars and what to do with jars. I've been saving them for well over a year now, all Dollar Tree jars. Well, there's a couple in them that aren't, probably, like good pickle jars, right? But I'm going to be doing some stuff with those, so keep your eyes open for that as well. All right, that's it. Watch now for the starter of this entire bow journey for Amy, the mother bow. Thanks you guys so much for watching. Have a great day, a great week, and a great life. And as always, from your singing crafty crafter, don't need ribbons and bows to cure my woes. I just need a Dollar Tree. Happy hunting at your local Dollar Tree. Bye-bye. I'm going to teach you the mother bow. It's the very first bow I learned to make, and it started me down my journey of making bows. And it's kind of a hard bow, so I mastered this and made the rest easy. So when you're going to take your ribbon, and you're going to figure out the size of the loops that you want, right? So this is the size of the loops that I want. And so I'm overlapping slightly in the middle here, okay? Then I'm going to mirror that, and now I've got my even, right? That's my center right there, okay? So my loops are going to be that big. Now I'm going to do this. I'm going to wrap it. 1, that's 2, let's go 3, 4, and 5. And then I'm going to bring it back. So this side ended there. So we're going to go and end it here. Okay. So I have 5 loops in there. Actually, I probably have 4 loops in there. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I have 4 loops in there, which is fine. No, I have 5. Okay. So now I'm going to take this and we're going to fold it in half, creasing where our center is. Okay. So this is kind of a thick bow ribbon, so I can't just go like this. I'm actually going to have to cut into my center, and I'm going to cut a V. Do you know why? You're going to find out why without cutting myself, hopefully. Okay, so we're going to cut a V in there, pull those out. We're going to go to the other side and cut another V in, and that's why you need to know where the center is, right? Because you're going to cut into that. Oh, there's a lot of ribbon here. I couldn't have chose a thin ribbon, right? I chose a really thick one. That's okay. All right. So now you have a notch in there. And so we're going to take some twine. And this is where, if you wanted to add tails, let's go ahead and we'll just add tails on for you. So we're just going to cut a piece to make it a tail, right? And then I'll just dovetail my ends here really quickly. There we go. Dovetail, dovetail, simple as that. And now I'm going to put my tail right on the back side here, okay? So take my piece of jute twine and go over the top, flip it over, and we're going to tie this really, 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 really tight, okay? So we're going to knot this. Ba-bam. And because we have that knot, those notches in there, right? We get a good pulls all those loops together. Okay, so there we go. Now we've got our bow. So this is the fun part. We're gonna go into the center on one side, and we're gonna pull out one of our loops. And because of the notch, watch this, it like, boom, it comes forward. And then the next one, I'm gonna go boom and go backward. And because of that notch, it gives it the ability to move and hold its spot where you put it. So forward, right? Backwards. Look at that. Bam. All right. And then we're going to go to this side and do the same thing. Take the first loop, go forward. Again, that notch just gives you the ability to move these around. Back, forward, and back. Does this not look like it belongs in a great big floral arrangement, right? That is the mother bow. That's the only thing I know to call it. I'm sure it's got some name. I just don't know what it is. But it's the mother bow for me because it was the very first bow I learned. And there you go. That's your little encore bow at the end here to show you. So I hope you guys really enjoyed the bow tutorial.